If you've been thinking about starting a print on demand business or a digital download business, whatever it may be, if you've been thinking about it for multiple months now and you're trying to learn as much as possible to make sure that you don't fail and that your first product doesn't flop or your first store doesn't get no sales, you are already shooting yourself in the foot, because no matter how much you read about basketball, for example, the first time you throw is probably not going to hit. No matter how much you learn about driving a car, the first time you drive one, it's probably going to feel weird and you won't do very well and you will stall the car and make some mistakes. No matter how much you study about business, no matter how much research you do into your niche, if you write a business plan or if you design the perfect website, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, in the beginning, you're probably going to fail in numerous ways, most of which you won't even be able to anticipate or expect. And I understand that if you're in this mindset and you're struggling to make that first step to get started, that's exactly what you're scared of. You don't want to fail. You don't want to feel shame around putting a lot of effort into starting and then it not working out. But the good news is there's no shame in that. It happens to literally everyone. No matter who I talk to, when they start out, they really struggle to sell designs. And when they look back on those designs a few years down the line, they say, hey, now I can see the mistakes, but only because I started and I carried on going and carried on improving and learning from mistakes that I made through taking action. That's how they actually pushed through and got a lot better and eventually became successful. So inaction is costing you a lot of time and it's not teaching you anything. Nothing is going to teach you better and make you grow better and avoid failure better than taking the first steps, putting yourself out there, uploading a t-shirt design, uploading 10 t-shirt designs, publishing your first digital products, whatever it may be, because out in the field is where you get the right practice and you will fail. And that's a good thing. You have to try and reframe your mind into thinking that failing is just you learning and progressing and getting better and growing. And I've talked about this before on the channel, so if you've been a long time subscriber, you may have heard this before, but it's very similar to going to the gym. If you have ever done any type of resistance training, you know that all it is working out to the point of failure where your muscles fail and cannot lift anymore in order for them to then grow and get stronger for the next time that you train. That's the whole purpose. And that's what we're doing with business. That's what we're doing with print on demand. We're putting out designs. We're doing our best at the time. And then if we fail and nobody buys them, which will happen, and does happen to me as well as everyone else, then we learn from that and we get better. And the next time we show up and design something, we'll be stronger and smarter. It's exactly the same with the gym. It's the same with all sorts of other things. So if you have been thinking about this for multiple months and you want to try and soak up as much information as possible and have the perfect strategy in order not to fail, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's probably never going to work. You're going to get to where you want to be, have a passive income stream or be a successful business owner or quit your 9 to 5. You're going to get to that point way quicker if you just start now and fail anyway, rather than waiting another half a year and learning and watching another 3 or 4 courses and then starting half a year later. That's just going to postpone it way more. And by the way, I'm not saying that you're stupid for doing this. I actually think it's really good that you want to prepare yourself, you want to educate yourself, and you want to learn ahead of putting some designs out there, starting the business. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I just think that there is a certain type of person out there that really overdoes this and goes way beyond what's necessary to get started. If you've been spending 2 weeks, 1 month learning about print on demand, watching different YouTubers, consuming hours of content about what it takes to be successful, how to start a store, then you already know enough. And you're going to learn a lot more by getting started. You don't need to go another few months down the rabbit hole of learning about print on demand or whatever it is you're trying to start. And now is actually the best time to get started as well, because we're inside of Q4, which is the highest potential time to make sales with something like print on demand. People are starting to shop for Christmas. There's a lot more demand when it comes to the e-commerce space. So now's actually the ideal time to start testing your ideas and getting some feedback from the market, because there's just so many more testers out there, or customers in a sense, that are going to find your products and give you feedback, or give you data on whether they work or not, so that you know what to do next. It's also easier to get your first sales during this time period where everyone is more open to spending money for gifts. Q4 right now is the perfect time for you to start. You don't want to miss this opportunity. And if you're still worried about making mistakes, even during Q4, one of the biggest mistakes is something that I discuss in this video right here. So check that out if you want to avoid failure, if you want to profit from Q4 and get the most out of it.